So here we are back in the Black Mirror universe, or multiverse as that should probably be by now, with Bandersnatch, the latest entry released over the festive period. And there's a lot here, not only the execution, which of course is one of the big talking points, but also the ideas and themes that it raises, of course the callbacks that we've come to expect from Black Mirror, and the fact that it's possibly delayed the next season by its creation. But I think that's a fair trade. But before we get into all of that, I do want to say yes, I am still getting over an illness, so if I sound or look kind of off for a bit, I do apologise. I've tried to put it off as long as possible, but I need to get these out to you, so bear with me over the next few. But Bandersnatch is the tale of Stefan, a young upstart programmer who wants to make an adaptation, for gaming, of one of his favourite choose your own adventure books. Now, being just a bedroom programmer, he doesn't have the distribution tools that, we could get it to as many homes as possible. So he approaches Tuckersoft, which is a name that we should all find familiar if we're familiar with the Black Mirror multiverse, who agree, yes, we'll do that for you, and there is an ending where you can literally just go, okay, yeah, have a whole team do it, and it gets released to terrible reviews. But we'll get to the endings, of course, later, which is part of the conceit of this episode. But if you go through, obviously, the next, the next part of his life, through the development process, there are a lot of choices to make, and one of the things that we learn is that his mother was tragically taken from him at a young age, and to deal with this he seeks psychiatric help at St. Juniper's Hospital. Again, a name that should be very familiar. And yeah, we just basically choose some of the elements of his life, some of the decisions he will make. And it can go from the completely mundane as to what music you're going to listen to on the bus, to very important, like, are you going to bash your dad's brains out with an ashtray? And that's the important thing here. Every little choice, does seem to have an impact. I mean, okay, maybe the music choices don't, and certainly the breakfast choices only make one that I'm aware of. I did actually test this using Amy instead of doing it myself multiple times, because I was like, I don't think I want to go through multiple times and try and get everything. Apparently there's about over 1 trillion permutations, so I just don't have the time. But Amy and I watched it separately, which was my idea, because then I could make the choices I wanted to, she could make the choices she wanted to. There didn't have to be a compromise, or again, to watch it at least twice, to go, well, let's see what would have happened if we'd followed your path. She chose Sugar Puffs, I chose Frosties. And yes, that does impact the video or the advert that plays as he watches the video of the documentary about the author. So yes, a lot of these choices do seem to have an impact, even if they're not massive. That doesn't really change much of the narrative, what breakfast cereal you choose. But it does sort of sometimes, have unexpected consequences. And that's part of what choose your own adventure books are. Sometimes you'll think, oh, this is just an innocuous choice, and then you find yourself down in a pit, of spikes, skewered in all kinds of places. I've been a fan of choose your own adventure books from a young age, and one of my first, I think, was the Joe Dever Lone Wolf series. I've loved that kind of idea of choosing your own adventures, and I've also loved gaming, which kind of makes sense again because you're choosing the narrative, you're impacting the outcome. And I love this piece for that, the fact that it embraced the idea of choose your own adventure books and choose your own adventure gaming into a new medium. Now, it has technically, from what I understand, been done before quite recently by Netflix themselves, but not in drama, not in this kind of programming. To test the viability, I suppose, of this idea, they put it into children's programming. If children can grasp the idea of making a choice and that it impacts something, then adults are going to have a breeze. So either that worked really well, or it didn't work and they went, yeah, but it's kids, so maybe adults will still be alright with it. I don't know what the results were. But it did give us this, and we have so much sort of interactivity. It's kind of sometimes gets a bit overwhelming. You're just like, oh, I'm not going to have to pick it up for a while. Oh, mouse, where? you're suddenly, running for your control device, and I loved it for that. I thought it was a great idea. The execution worked so well. I think I got 7 sort of endings. I actually misdialed on the, on the dialing the number kind of one, but apparently the ending's the same regardless. You do still get put in jail, and the game actually releases mainly getting good reviews because of the controversy angle around it. So I didn't really miss anything by getting the wrong number, apart from a slightly different way that it got to that ending, at least from my understanding. But that's, I think that's great, the idea that there are so many different endings. Like I said earlier at the start of the video, there's the one where you just accept the deal from Tuckersoft and it just gets released, and of course because it's done by committee it loses the heart, and of course it's a failure. But I really enjoyed the idea of sort of bringing this PAX idea, and what Colin had said earlier about Pac-Man, Program and Control Man. It's all about controlling you, the government are in your brain, kind of stuff. I love the fact that they did bring that back into one of the sort of narrative routes that you could take. That program, or that path, had been programmed quite well, if you will, to use sort of Stefan's words. But it's definitely one that I think rewards, if not multiple viewings yourself, sort of cribbing between people. Because I was actually wrong earlier, I do apologise. I said Amy had chosen Sugar Puffs. She swears that she didn't see the option at all. It just chose for her. Obviously I didn't watch over her shoulder. And if anyone else has had a similar experience of choices that other people have had, just not coming up for you and it's been chosen, please do let me know in the comments, because I'd like to know more about this. This is one of those that, like I say, is interesting by committee. When you come together and go, wait, you had that option, oh, I never saw that, or oh, that happened for you. All of these different ideas that you can sort of follow down the paths of with different people. I mean, if you've got the time to sit there and try and get all trillion permutations, do it. But, just don't forget to look after yourself and eat and all that kind of stuff, please, as well. But it wouldn't be Black Mirror without, the nods and winks to other episodes and other entries in the anthology that is Black Mirror. And of course we get a lot of them. The branching path symbol is clearly white there. That's genius. We're linking things as far back as that, as well as the obvious Nosedive and Metalhead, the things that have been produced through Netflix are linked there. We've got all that stuff, like I said, Tuckersoft and St. Juniper's. It again is building this massive tapestry, whether it be a multiverse or simply a universe. It could just all be happening at slightly different times along the same timeline, or even concurrently, but in different places, so we don't know that it's all concurrent. Because a lot of the technology does make sense if it's all part of Tuckersoft's sort of sphere of influence. They could have become this massive company that then branched out into hardware and neural interfaces, and therefore onto sort of storing digital versions of yourself when you die. I can't wait to see what the next season brings. I did predict that the last season would be the last season with Black Museum, and that's clearly wrong. Charlie Brooker has confirmed that yes, there is another one in the works, and like I say, might have been delayed by Bandersnatch. But I'm eager to see where it goes, because clearly, Netflix are backing it, which is great. There's been so many programs that have had great ideas that have disappeared because they haven't had the viewership, or just Netflix have lost faith, or not just Netflix, of course, Amazon, Hulu, whoever. Various different streaming programs could have lost faith in projects that could have been great because they just didn't get the first run viewership. But that's not how streaming media works. If you think of streaming media like old media, it isn't going to work. So I'm really glad that cerebral, dark, funny at times, and thoughtful programming is being supported and created. And if you've got an interest in this and you haven't already watched Black Mirror, go and watch all of Black Mirror. Even if you've seen it before, just go and refresh yourself. Commit to making sure that Netflix know that you want this kind of programming. And, let them know if there's programming you don't want. And sometime over the next few weeks, I'll be talking about a type of programming that they really should get rid of. But that'll do it for this week. So until next time, as always, thanks for watching and take care.